action. Hey, gentlemen, sorry I couldn't be there in person, but I'm on a different kind of a schedule. I go from like 11 to 2 and then back to bed till 4 and all kinds of shit like that. So, anyway, what I have here is a couple of things I wanted to share. Uh, and I think they're of the utmost importance in my experience in this business. And the first one is the more people involved in any community, and that's what they're called really, when you get together with people to try and figure things out, is a community. You want as many fucking people as you can get. And you want to learn from them more than any other source. Because you can read every white paper under the sun, but there's something that's not there that the human being gets. And that's why it's important to be surrounded by them all the time, and Telegram channels and blah blah blah. And so I'm saying, if we're going to do this community, we need to bring on Scott Jacoby. We need to bring on tons of my Bitcoin friends. And if you guys got any, more power to you. But I can't do it with just the three of us. No way. It wouldn't help. Okay, so let's go ahead and that's my calendar. Where in the hell is my Ether wallet? Okay, so let's start. Let's start it on one tab and go to the next. Okay, this is the Spective ICO. This is demonstrating how you get in touch with you got HuffPo, Forbes, and Fox Business. Very good, very good press in those things. The token is called a Signal token. I own 47,432 of these coins. They're currently trading in the 50-cent area. So I've got about 20 grand worth of them. I'm hoping that they can get to $1 or maybe even multiple dollars, but I'll bow out at $1 if things start to flatulate. So if I go to, let's see, here. No, that's not where I'm gonna go. I'll look up the CEO. His name is Dent. Yeah, he's Dent. So I got in touch with you. Gotta look at this guy, man. He is okay. That's not the one. And the coin's not called Dent. It's called Signal token, or Siggies. Okay. No, his name is Center, not Dent. Dylan Center. Okay. Okay, so what they have is they're streaming virtual reality from all over the place, live from sports, the African jungle, and it's total immersion VR. So it's the best that you can get right now, anyway. And I thought it was gonna be a bellwether, so I talked a few people into picking it up, and we got our hands on it. And now we're waiting for it to go live. At the time, I didn't have my rule about making sure that companies were live before I bought them. But this one had a 2019 go live date, and they're going to release an alpha code that you can trade as well, which will be good. But I started out with Dylan with this quote: like all ICO new coin offerings, the instructions for how to do something are as cryptic as hell. I launch my ICOs and do check my own ICOs, I was supposed to say, and do blockchain programming. We give step-by-step instructions an idiot could understand. I'll never comprehend why so many token sales ICOs are nearly impossible to get info from. For instance, nowhere did they see the token sale is over, and if it is, how much did I buy how much, and if it is, then now how the hell do I buy 100,000 worth? If it isn't, I think I was informed by your site that the direction was sent to me by email. I have never gotten it, and it's been 6 hours. Blah blah blah. Either way, at the time my firm was Y Capital Management. It's now Z Capital Management. It follows the generations. We're in Generation Z, and I need to get some. That is, if you want my money. And so Dylan comes back and says the kid, he denies everything, but he does want my money. Asks what country I'm from, and if I'm an accredited investor, et cetera, which I'm not. Accredited investors are more risky because they have to follow rules. And then, I got on board, and eventually I said, I'm sorry I was such a prick, and blah, blah, blah. And but you look at this guy. This guy, he's probably, what, 17? I mean, I wish you could see a bigger picture. It's just unbelievable how young these guys are. And the younger the better, if you ask me, because they have not learned why things can't be done yet. So that's a CEO contact. One of the things that I recommend you do with any pre-launch ICO, if you're going to buy it, or if you think it sounds good. If it's an app that sounds neato and seems like it has a market, that is not enough. That is far from enough information. You have got to do all the diligence, and that may even mean, one of the important things it means is getting in front of some of the industry, what they call the industry leaders, on these, on CNBC, which I'm going to show that black man named Ian. And he is on CNBC all the time, but you won't watch the video. You're going to see it now, unless you call this off. This is HextraCoin. This is one of those interest-bearing coins. 1 week, $389.40, but that was for $1,500 investment. If I had the same I had in before Bitcoin flopped over, it would have been quite substantially more. I like those kind of coins, but they're risky, and you got to get in and out at the right time. There's Dylan Center again. I can't really see how young he is, but whatever. Okay, this is where I have my portfolio now. I'm actually building my own portfolio offline, not offline, but using an API set from a general API set for pulling on all the quotations in. I'm going to put stochastics in there and all kinds of stuff. And then Poloniex Ninja series is just coming out, and actually it's going to have stochastics and week averages over time, etc., all kinds of indicators. Here we have my portfolio. This was the last 24-hour profit. These are the holdings. I did say I had $1 million. I guess I went almost back up, but I dropped quite a bit to before that happened. I was in the 800s at one time. The portfolio change is 719K. That means here's my portfolio, here's where it was, and there's where it went. The reason it is so precipitously up is because I decided to build this portfolio, and I just threw in any price, just to get the current price showing so I could look at it, right? Now I've got 5 or 6 other transactions I haven't entered, and it gets to be a kind of an onerous process entering them, so I'm building my own, and that'll take a while too, but it will always suck the right stuff in that happens. It'll detect the changes and suck it in. This is my portfolio, as you can see, and I got a big fucking chunk of Bitcoin and a big fucking chunk still of Ethereum. These Bitcoins all over the place. I am consolidating those into a Bitcoin wallet called Blockchain Wallet, the best one by a long shot in the business, if you ask me. Some of these are ICOs up here. Everex has been a unbelievably performing ICO. It's $3. We got thousands of shares of it, and Everex is the company that built the Explorer as well as the blockchain crawler, and so they've been in business making stuff already, and they're going to mix it up with a coin. Excuse me. And they're out in the market already. Every day, there was 4 days in a row during the fall where they were named the #1 uh, appreciating coin, and we're talking like 90% and stuff like that. Tezos is the one about bandwidth sharing. That was again back when I thought things were neato. I didn't look into the fact that this was a husband and wife team who had no experience in programming or anything, or I probably would have not done it. The weird thing about Tezos is it's still trading all over the place. Like sometimes it goes up to 11 and back down. It's really remarkable considering what's gone on with it. Token as a service is a bona fide, true, blue, honest to goodness, fantastic fucking ICO. It's an infrastructure ICO, and it's built so that people can easily develop their own tokens. So it's providing tokenizing, or whatever you want to call it, as a service. Anytime you see two A's in between letters, it means as a in the software world. There's all kinds of, software as a service. There's uh, applications as a service. There's platform as a service. There's everything. Okay, Bitcoin Gold, Blastcoin. Here's the Super Bitcoin Tronics. There's that we were talking about the other day. Vivarium is the binary one, and I'm gonna move my Ethereum altogether too, but I gotta put a security lock on it. Ripple still there, still hanging at $1.54. This is what I call the Atlas portfolio, because Atlas was the guy who held the world up. I also have one called To the Moon, which has other holdings in it. And then there's one that's the pure unlaunched ICOs. Okay, so that's that. Then we go here. This is Mr. Ian Balina. He's always on CNBC. He's traveling the world, and he got half the time in New Zealand or somewhere like that, and then he, other times is shit on Fox. But what he's doing is he's explaining how he made $4 million in a single year, and that is really quite a remarkable feat. Not many people can say they've done that. And he shares his complete strategy with everybody and tells what he thinks the top tokens are for 2018 at the outset and everything else. So shows his rating system like the ICO review here, and it shows you how to rate ICOs according to the way he does, which I've seen, and I've thought that they were a remarkable set of telemetry and metrics that they were looking at, and there was a lot of it to do with that thing I was talking about earlier, Jeff, about how much marketing will be required to get this thing to bust open, Okay, so let's see. Smart Web, he's got. Where is? I've got something somewhere where I've got a. Okay, so this is on the order of what I want to do. This is one of Bolino's charts, okay, and you'll see that some of these things are not okay. So this is mature investments right here. See, you'll see that some of these things are really not currently amazing, but that's because he's in a different part of the world. He's from New Zealand, and they have different situations there. There's things over there we can't even buy. But if you want to see his ICO ratings, you also see that Mobius has come back around in New Zealand. He's graded it at 81%. Now, if his grading is good, that is fucking fantastic investment. Acropolis, Archblock, Hybrid Block, Apex are crossed off because they did. Why did he cross off Apex? That's 79. I think something went wrong with their launch, or they were a scam or whatever. But so these are ICO ratings. Then he goes on to talk about the investment world. He has an overview of what a starter is, Hall of Famer, substitute, didn't make the team, wait for the rebound kind of guys. He uses that language. Some of these have shown up on lists in the States. Mobius has. And so it's Dottie or Daddy or whatever the hell it is. That's about the only ones I've ever seen, but then that doesn't mean they aren't there. Okay, so that's his rating. His rating system is underneath these cells, but you can see it if you tear it apart. I'm just not going to do it now because we'll be here forever. Okay, here's another spreadsheet. This one is back to the same one. These are the best ICOs of all time, and he gives a weighted average to why they are the best of all time. Of course, number one is Ethereum. Back in 14, it shot up 83.75%. Now, I believe when I bought it for 10 and it went to 368, that was a higher move. Maybe he's a little behind. Spectre Coin, Stratus, also very good. And there are other reasons they're very good because they were consistently delivering and things like that, not just one big, big spike up and then over. He has the market cap adjusted for 17, and he has several of his new ideas out here. He does have an all-star team, like I was talking about earlier, and a new prototype coming out. He has also got all-star advisors, which are very important. This guy is from Harvard MBA, and then he tells what kind of smart app we're looking at. If it's purely blockchain, then it's good. It's currency. And if it's purely currency, it's a good investment. If they're going to have their own blockchain though, like Qtum, which I kind of screwed up on, that is an amazing investment. If it's an app, that's less cool than something like an infrastructure play, because infrastructure plays can be purchased by companies that need new infrastructure and implemented immediately, whereas you have to change business processes around and convince people that the new thing is better when you do an app change. There's a couple that are just currencies, and I just love the way this guy's put everything into a simple descriptor, which basically takes it down to, well, let's just weed out what we want, So that's that. Here's some ICOs that have passed on. Come on. Here's some scams. And here's the changelog for what goes on in the programming. He added 3 sigma rule. That's important. It should be 6 sigma, but 3 is very important and it's very difficult to understand. So you just look at the scoring on it, or it's added into the aggregate score. But it is really the most boring reading you'll ever do trying to figure 3 sigma out, 6 sigma, and any of that shit. And you probably know what it is anyway. They put a community metric in of who the Stack/Telegram users are, and what they do a fundamental, he calls it qualitative measurement of their power based on what they've done in the past, and as well as who relies on them for information, etc. So these are all the changes that he's made to his fucking unbelievable score sheet that I've never seen anything like, and I've seen quite a fucking few of these. I tried to build my own, didn't get it done. I did build my own index at one point. It's still up, but it's not tracking as well. Here we are on Gecko, not CoinGecko, but just Gecko. It's an open source platform for automating trading strategies. This is a bot that you may have heard me talk about. And this one happens to be open source, which means you can change the algorithm for how you want to trade. The most popular trading bot is the ping pong bot, and that is the one that goes down, you buy it, goes up, you sell it, goes down, buy it, up, sell it, like a whoop-de-doo. But there's another one that's a little more sophisticated that measures the average back over time and says, where's the 20-yard lines on this changeover, and it'll give you a better, safer range to stay inside. One of the problems with the ping pong coin is if it's on the way down and out, it doesn't know. And so I have spent a lot of time trying to fix that. It's not going down for a low price; it's going down for the count, so to speak, and it's difficult to figure that out. So I'm going to look into this open source thing. Okay, here we have Dylan Center again. Okay, Spective coin is what Dylan is doing. I don't know, I got Spectre up here. But Spective is that live streaming virtual reality. And I consider Dylan now part of my community. So if we did this, he would come into our group. Now I wanted to show you something that none of you have ever heard of, which really is, to me, remarkable. It's called Fiverr. Fiverr can do just about anything you can conceive of. I have sent staticky videos and had them cleaned. I have had rearrangements of screen items for videos. I've had things transcribed from one language to another and from audio to written. There's a tip of the iceberg. You can go on here and buy 10,000 likes on your Facebook page, and it's not a scam. They're real bona fide likes. They've figured out a way to that 5 words is the most read. 5 words is the most read post in Facebook. So they concentrate on 5 words, and then the quotations are the most also the most read content. So they put a 5-word quotation together, and they just in 72 hours they literally have 10,000 new users. I'm just at my first 10,000, but getting ready to do some more. This place does cartooning, it'll do automation, it'll do you can make political cartoons if you want. It will put the sound design for games together, and they start at 5, and you can see they go up, but some of them are not worth it. You want to look at their rating. So I was just going to show you guys that because I get so much shit done on Fiverr, it's unbelievable. I need a logo. I'm not going to sit there and fuck around with logos. I said, give me a logo. I want it to look mean and blah, blah, blah. I want it to look like 1980s metal, maybe Iron Maiden sort of lettering. Whatever. And then 2 days later, there it is. I got my thing done. And those can be $5 flat. I needed to move a database with 1 million entries into Google from one site to another. That was done here. And they also do really inexpensive data entry, which is something I'm looking at right now too. Blah blah blah. That's Fiverr. I remember asking you guys about it and hearing you kind of sound like you don't really understand what it is, so I wanted to show you. Okay, this is called CoinGecko. I think Brad uses this. I don't know if you do, Jeff, but if you ever have a coin you like and you want to find out where it's trading, you just hit trading exchanges. It has everything about the coin here on CoinGecko, and you can see that it's changing on the Nova exchange almost exclusively. The others, I don't know what those are, but it's very tiny. Okay, so then the next thing is, this is a Telegram channel. I'm a Latium member, and if you look at Latium, you will find that McAfee's on and I'm also a blockchain guy. You'll find that McAfee is on there, and McAfee has publicly stated, I love this guy, I really do, that he will cut off his penis and eat it if Bitcoin does not hit $1 million by 2022. That's funny, man. And he's done it over the live feed to like, you know, the whole fucking uh the whole eastern seaboard and ASEAN and all those places and stuff. So here's Bathrobe Billionaire. Someone else is calling themselves that now. That's interesting. Um, my mnemonic is me posing with the members of Venom. This Latium thing is really cool. It's it's a micro outsourcing, even smaller tasks than Fiverr has. And you are able to assemble projects by just connecting people's jobs together. Not hard to do. It sounds a little hard, not at all hard to do. I have actually done some of the samples on the beta that's been out. And they've decided to start trading it in the alpha stage, even though it's not going to be ready till 19. So that's kind of encouraging. But anyway, with the Telegram, I have all these. These are my channels. I'm gonna get rid of DCorp because of course it went up right after I dumped it down to like 13 left, and that was one of the first ICOs I ever bought. Uh, Blockchain was a later ICO. Latium, of course, a later ICO as well. And then this is the Telegram code, and you know, if we went to here, you can see everybody's different thoughts and opinions. China's AI dreams. Bathroom Billionaire is the admin. I think he's got someone taking over for him because he's actually starting a wine bar right now as we speak. And it's just another one of his stupid businesses. But anyway, I wouldn't be going into hospitality myself, but he gets bored. So anyway, there's your Telegram channel. That's a very good channel. And there's others that have the same capabilities. Remember, this is a hamburger. You can start your own group, which our community should do. So people can log on all day with ideas, tips, etc. We don't have to have this, you know, 19th century business model where we all have to come together at the same time. We use the phone and we use messaging and collaboration. That's the best way to do it. My opinion, many other opinions, but for now, I'll just say it's mine. Okay, another crypto compare screen. This one I've used to show uh, the Latium price. 1 lat equals, if we get out to 3 zeros, it's in the over 10 cents. And so this one's 41 cents. Now, it's been up to 50, it's been up to 70 cents actually. With 47,000 coins, that's almost like $38,000. I like that. Okay, now here's what a Ether wallet looks like. I'm not going to launch this right now, but what you do basically is you go to, I'm going to go to it because if you do not have one of these, you're not doing it right. I've heard you guys say you don't want to do it, but you've got to fucking do this. And that is, you've got to have a fucking thumb drive with your shit on it. It's the only way anyone does anything. I mean, who wants to transcribe a paper wallet onto, you know, the address box or the private key box, you know? But what you do is you just get, damn, why can't I get down there? You go ahead and you, this fucking thing. You go ahead and you pull up the File Explorer and you pull up the, where is it? The crypto folder. There it is right there. Mine is plugged in, so I'll pull it up. Boom. Now these are all everything. It's everything I've ever been involved in terms of whatnot. There is Exodus, Everex, Etherdata, Dent.txt, Bitcoin.com wallet recovery backup sheet. The blockchain wallet I mentioned earlier is just fucking fantastic. Here's the API set for making my new tracker. Here was a coin called Hive that they accidentally gave me. I ordered 160,000 and they gave me 320 by accident, and I didn't give it back because that's how it works. You know, no one knows where it went. I should have given it back. That would have probably been the right thing to do. At any rate, it's not around anymore. Okay, so there's all these elastic phrases. The wiring reference for, what is that for? There we go. Come on. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. I got it. This is a wiring reference for a bot. There's the USB drive. It has crypto, HP scans. There's plenty of room on it. Deposit address for a particular coin, and it's got an Ether Delta address and some other shit. The Lockchain coin is right here, and for some reason I named it lock.gif. That's the one where they're selling hotels with no commission, so they're supposed to be ultra inexpensive. We'll see. Okay, so let's go back to my Ether wallet. No, it's not. Oh yeah, let's go there. Okay, so where are we at? We're right here. Okay. Now there are what they call the Chrome add-ons. There are so many valuable add-ons in Chrome, it's unbelievable. Here's Ether address lookup. Actually, you can do that a number of different ways. You can do it right on your wallet by hitting Ethplorer, which stands for Ether Explorer. MetaMask is something that's valuable to have if you're going to log into a wallet because it protects you from phishing of any kind. It's completely bulletproof on phishing. And so I've got that, and I think that's what I add. No, I put Kryptonite is also one of the things that completely blocks any kind of phishing, and it puts the sign up saying there's no phishing ahead or something like that. This is now a Google screen. The only thing I'll say here is if I don't know how to do something, I just ask the Google, you know, in the form of a question. Invariably, I get the answer. This is my, I believe this is my Google Drive. These were Google Drives too, though. What is this? That's a wallet. That's a wallet. Okay, so the Google Drive. Yeah, it's just got a number of things like the ICO rating program I put together very early on, and the BitConnect wallet that I put a couple hundred in and eventually put like 18,000 in. So that's that. This is okay. That's what that Kryptonite shield looks like. It says if the Kryptonite shield is green, it means the URL is safe. And I do not ever press don't show me this again because I want to know that. I want that comfort level. Okay, another wallet. Another wallet. More app add-ons. There was one in here I was going to show, but I don't know where it went. And also, Brad, you've shown me a fuck ton of them. There's trend line drawers, so not fundamental, but quantitative tools that you can attach to things. There's a golden spiral deal that you can use. You can change the names of your tabs, resize them. I've got something I really like on mine, which is it shows when the people have read the document I sent them, and I don't do it to be sneaky. I just want to know if they know what we were talking about before I call them again. GoToMeeting is a free conferencing system. So there's all kinds of shit like that out there. I mean, this is just some of the worst of it, actually. Well, let's see if there's anything. Full page screen capture, Screencastify, all these things here. What was it? Google Keep. Oh, the other thing you can do is detach the calendar from Google, so it's its own calendar. And that is just a million miles better than having to go into Google and to work with that calendar. You have a separate calendar on a page, and it just is real slick. This is Coinbase. I was here today earlier because I needed to find my receive address for Ether, because I was going to use that as a way of logging into my to my Ether wallet. There it is. If you guys want to deposit anything in there, just feel free. Copy it right down or use the QR code with your phone, and you're welcome to put anything in you want. That is all the stuff I had, with maybe a few exceptions. What was this again? Oh yeah, the Gecko thing. I would definitely look into this. So the core messages here. Okay, number one, got to have a large community, got to have a very skilled community, as skilled as you can get. Got to have advisors and celebrities in the business that you can call upon. You have to have a thumb drive. You are eventually going to have so many passwords and reconstruction things that if you don't have a thumb drive, you're going to go completely crazy. I've never met anyone who doesn't have one. The paper ones are good for reconstruction, but when you want to just copy and paste the 47-digit private key in, well, that's kind of hard to do from a piece of paper. But if it's on a thumb drive, like this one is right here, then it just moves over there. And I'm pulling it out right now, actually. You'll hear a little beeping sound or something, probably. Yep, there it is. And so that's an very important item to have. And they're not very expensive at all. If you want, I can send you hundreds. We used to give them away at IBM, and they're freaking gigabyte a piece. And then I also have a Nano over there that I haven't started using yet. So big group. Use the technology, Telegram, etc., etc. Follow the due diligence on how to analyze a coin. Listen to Ian. Ian Bowling. He's the guy that's gone to 4 million in a year, and that is not a coincidence or luck or an accident. He was an engineer, and he put his engineering thinking to work. If you watch how he thinks on the videos, he's got something going on for real. It's really special, and if you don't, you're shorting yourself out if you don't. Now, I've spoken to this guy, and I've invited him to participate in a minting, which is my end game in terms of what I want to learn how to do, is to mint a coin. I can mint a coin that has just nothing but vanity on it, like I'm going to mint the Judas Priest coin and give it to them for a publicity stunt we're doing. And then I'm gonna make a gauntlet coin, but those things will just be sitting way down at the bottom for fractions of a cent, and then they'll disappear. So let's see. What are these notifications here? Okay, this is stuff for Facebook. I didn't really want to see that right now. That's a band called Dimmu Borgir, and they're frequently referred to as Demon Burger. Closing. And, okay, so I got this. Etherscan. Okay, this is another thing I guess I forgot to tell you about. Etherscan and Explorer are two applications made by the company called Everex. And you may have heard me talk about how much of a bull Everex has been. Well, the reason it is because every fucking person in the goddamn blockchain uses their apps already. And then they're going to build some new ones. So it's just a no-brainer, in my opinion. Oh, and then there's Hextra. I didn't really show you that. This is what one of the dividend coins looks like. You can see that these percentages each day are pretty fat. But I only have $1,500 in here, and that has generated in a very short time $389.40. If I had the 18 grand I had in the other one, this would be right around $2,000 for a week. And they're using a coin called the Hextra coin 614. It makes me wonder why they didn't get banned from why this one didn't get banned from Texas and Carolina. Personally, it just stinks of fucking scam to me. But got lending, the team they didn't show the team with BitConnect. Maybe they won't show it here either. I don't know. They don't actually. Maybe. Yeah, there's some memes down there, so it's not really showing it. So let's just go through this one more time. Oh, I should get something real quick. ICOs, good habits. This is an article I wrote for Medium. Medium is a publication outlet that has that you are often asked to do something for or write something after you've written it somewhere else. This one they wanted to put in. It's very short, very basic, but it says in order to acquire appreciable and high returning ICO, an ICO needs, number one, to be in the $2 million to $10 million range. And personally, I favor projects in the lower range. It needs to have an average investment of no more than 4 ethers per backer. And the reason for that is if it's very granular, there can't be gigantic sell-offs. Now that's all changing with the institutional sponsorship that's coming in, but a lot of the ICOs won't even experience any of that unless they're being manipulated and pulled in that way. But whales always bail right away because they get the coin for practically nothing. Just for being special, and the minter wants that to happen because he wants to show that Carl Icahn bought into his coin, and that must mean something. Those are MVP. That's another way of saying an MVP. I don't put much stake in MVPs unless there are certain guys like a crazy guy you really need to look up named Max. What's Max's last name? I'll think of it here. Anyone can launch an ICO. It can take as little. Okay, so this one is to have founders which are business oriented and already successful. And if you find them that have won awards and have established businesses, that's what you really want. Because anyone can launch an ICO, and it takes less than 25 minutes, I believe. The actual Prime Minister of Guatemala reached out to me to mint a coin through a guy that hangs out down there that I know, and he wanted to put a state coin together. And I was like, well, that won't cost you anything if you give me a stake in it. And I was like, oh, this fucking state coin is going to be fucking fantastic. We'll spend it on everything. But he wanted to be able to manipulate the coin. And I said, you can do that, but you have to do it. I told him the ways it had to be done. You couldn't change it just by printing anything. There's no money printed. Yeah, eventually he got cold feet and bowed out of it because basically the prime minister and his crew in Guatemala and Costa Rica and other places are kind of like crime syndicates. All right, The token has direct application with unique service immediately after the ICO. No time in between. If they take a year to go live, it's just not the best investment. ICOs that are ready to go immediately after fundraising is complete indicate potential founders' skin in the game. And another thing you want to do is see that the founders are paid in appreciation and not flat out cash or converted cash. They need to be truly blockchain based, because some people will just latch a blockchain onto their business and make it look like it's part of the new way of doing things, and it's just there to look good. So here I write ICOs that use the blockchain as a marketing mechanism rather than a real requirement are generally not good investments, and it doesn't take an idiot. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. To be able to speak with the founders any moment you like via Telegram or other social channel, and to make sure they don't make money out of the business operations, but rather out of increasing the value of the token. That is a no-brainer in any business. Who's got them? If you're making money out of the operations, what you're basically doing is setting up a venture capital firm so that you can have some of the venture capital to buy yourself a nice car to go to work in and shit like that. Those are the worst kind of venture capitalists. They just hop from one fucking bank to another. And there's tons of them. There are endless amounts of them. Anyway, if the founders are untouchable or anonymous, there's one exception here, and that is Bitcoin itself. Nobody really knows for sure who started Bitcoin. A lot of people think it was Satoshi, but I'm not sure of that either. So if they're not willing to handle tough questions, the founders, then they're not willing to invest in. Period. I mean, if they get uncomfortable, just say, hey, listen, I gotta go. And Brad, you know how to do this. You're a fucking fantastic negotiator. Jeff, you've probably done it dozens of times with vendors. You've got to get to the meat of the issue and find out if it's good. You cannot just go by what sounds interesting on paper. You have to have evidence from inside, and that's if you want to be extremely successful. So since Bitcoin was the very first coin of any of this kind, obviously it is going to be one that it was not an ICO anyway, so therefore you're going to have that anonymity clause. And it actually started out with well, I won't get into how that all started, but it was a couple different things going on at the time. I was involved with a vanity currency company that was making for amusement parks. They were making like the card to slide to go on stuff, and then someone approached me and asked me to make an anonymous money. Literally, they wanted me to make anonymous money, and I thought to myself, how can I do that? It has to be cash, but how are you going to move cash through the system? And so I was working with Western Union and hundreds of thousands of accounts that were built on cash machines, and there were a lot of keeping track. I wasn't thinking of doing it in a simpler way. I was thinking, how can this be done? And I drew flow charts and everything. And a lot of the people wanted it for one reason: to order pornographic material, which drives some between 40 and 60% of the internet revenue, I believe. Oh yeah, there was one other thing from our boy over here. He had what did Ian have? Fucking A. Okay, these are the changes he made to application. So he added 3 Sigma, and if any of you have ever done anything with any of the Sigma quality control stuff, you'll probably had moments where you wanted to shoot yourself in the head or pound that nail through your kneecap, because it is extremely complicated and beyond belief boring. Here you got rid of standard deviation and used the sample standard deviation error, and the mean was normalized, blah, blah, blah. So these are the changes to the program. That's the change log. That's just an overview. The best ICOs of all time. This is kind of a cool page on his thing. AntShares, I remember when that came out, and I was like, we gotta just buy that fucker because it sounds cool. And now Neo has been a really important coin, and of course the first one on the list is my beloved Ether, and the first one with the smart chain and all that stuff. Komodo was cool, very good. Lisk was good, and then Qtum, here it is. That was the one, Jeff, earlier today that I was lamenting selling too soon. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff. Bitquents and Ethos. Iconomy, that was good. OmiseGo was good, which is, by the way, the definition, the symbol for OmiseGo is OMG, and that's what I got when I got hacked. They left behind one coin called an OMG coin, so I could say, oh my god. This is standard deviations I was talking about. So he's not playing around with. I mean, he's using probability, and he's using calculus to measure the area underneath the curves, and integral calculus to come up with a function that defines the curves of the charts. And then he's got probability thrown in to go, what's the probability that this is going to repeat this pattern on the next time frame, and what's the probability that it'll have the same time frame it had before. So this guy he's swift, he's smart, and I would recommend you listen to some of his stuff very highly. Okay, yeah, that's the Etherscan, and then here's Google, what do they call the fuckers? Extensions. Brad introduced me to a Google extension that changed everything into US dollars. Already right when I was getting started, because I was, you know, when both of us were getting started, really, and it was kind of messed up with dealing with all those, you know, 8 to 12 digit numbers. When this simplified it, and it showed the exchange rate and all kinds of stuff. So I don't know what else is in here. There was something, but I guess it's just not here anymore, or I screwed and lost it somewhere. Anyway, that's my thoughts for the day. The most important being more the merrier. Now I've got a group already I call a clutch, and the clutch is very informal, but I will gladly formalize it into Telegram with you guys if we can do that. If you agree that we need to have these people. One of the guys in the clutch is Scott Jacoby, and he is actually certified genius, and his line of work is finance. And he went, when I told him about Bitcoin, he immediately got on board that day, and didn't even know, he had no idea what he was doing. And I said, we should do what I did, just dive in. It's like learning to swim, right? You don't have to boil the ocean to, you know, to catch a fish. So he got in and made a fuckload of money, and that was it. It was over for him, just over. And he was using big investments to start with, and he was a good saver of money, but he didn't. I was surprised he had as much as he did, to be honest with you. So Scott would be incredible. Every time I talk to Scott, he introduces me to something that I never have heard of before, in the term of in terms of he really likes the Divi coins, and he likes to play with a 25% failure rate in certain. He's measuring the amount of time it takes for the probability to fall out on those. And anyway, there was absolutely no breakdown in the. If it was a Ponzi for BitConnect, there could not have been a breakdown, because their worth on paper was bigger than all their customers' holdings. So I don't understand really what did happen there. I think they just got sick of being picked on, maybe, because there was so many fucking morons out there calling them, you know, calling them scams and whatnot. I'd like to say to some of those guys out there, I made $37,000 in 2 months on that, and I was going to do it again for just indefinitely. It paid my capital off long before the capital release. It paid higher average dividends than you originally saw, and you could earn money about 5 different ways with it, including staking it, including mining it, and trading just the BitConnect coin itself, which ran up into the hundreds, up into the 400s, and make money that way. So that reminds me of another coin where I know a guy who's actually just buying the coin and not using the opportunity to trade, to earn dividends off of it, but I cannot remember right now what it was. So there you go. That's everything, and don't forget to get at least one thumb drive. I would get others and back them up. The other thing I do every night, and this may sound superstitious, but I've found that I talk to people at like a conference or something, and they will say, "Oh, fuck yeah, I do the same thing." My Wi-Fi is always disabled. I got a hardwire into my PC, and I will literally disconnect the Ethernet every single night, so nothing can come inside there. It's basically it's a cold storage by itself. So there you go. Have a good evening, and I'm sorry I couldn't join you guys in person, but it's the weekend, and I like trying to spend more time with the fucking tribe here. Alright, if you have any questions, call me. That was a fucking long, stupid ass recording. God damn it.